Hey folks, sorry for the abrupt end to my last video. Believe it or not, it got pretty close to what was the end of that filming anyways. I was just doing some wrapping up statements, but you guys caught the glimpse of that last cut before my phone ran out of storage. So dumped all the photos and videos from my phone onto my PC. I think that's what you call them now, personal computer, right? PC, and now I've got storage on my phone. Not an enormous amount, but enough, I hope, to film some more. And I don't plan on doing long videos, so here goes nothing. Going to try to do another episode for y'all. The last thing we saw was this root over rock, Ficus benjamina. This is where all of the trimming ended up. You guys saw me make the last cut right up here to have this as the new leader and try to work on some more taper there. I think I'd said, I'm not sure if it was in the filming, that this bend right here is quite severe to me. And again, this bend right here looks very severe. I am not going to do anything with this because I might be able to take it back up, give it a little wiggle, take it back up. But, ooh, little schmutz. This is where it ended up. So it's my goal to get some, or shoot coming out down around this level here. Let's see if I can zoom you guys in a little bit. Or is that is zoomed in? Okay, you guys have been listening to me, not seeing my face. Cool. Well, here I am. So I want to get a shoot somewhere around here. I would love to get this tree moving in different directions without what's going on now. As it is now, they just want to cross. I love the way it looks when it's a very bare tree, but again, not the best idea for longevity. I'll have issues with things going the wrong way and making it a good looking tree. So you can barely see the rock peeking out right here. Big piece of rock. That's intentional. Of course, I can see I've got a root right here starting to thicken up, but again, I'm gonna leave this for a little bit. I just potted it up into this pot 5 months ago. So it's got to grow some, but I think it's not a perfect platform to grow. The roots are okay, the top is okay, but as it is now, it needs to grow before I can do too much more to it, and it needs to acclimate to, of course, my new situation for housing my plants. So this one's done for now. It was done for now when we filmed yesterday, but this is what it looks like. I'm, of course, not very upset with it. It looks pretty good. I would like to make it a very normal looking tree. I've got a long time to do that. I'm loving how the base is nice and, big like this. I'm loving how I have the rock just peeking out right here, and slowly, I'll start to uncover some more stuff here. But right now, probably in another, I don't know, maybe 3 months, I'll dive into the roots and try to do some more cleanup there and just see what the top looks like. It'll take a couple months for this to start growing new branches after being trimmed like this. A lot of energy in this tree, very vigorous, but it still needs to recover. It's still pruning. You cut off a finger, when its finger grows back, or you grow 2 fingers in its place, it still has to heal, all that. So I'm gonna let this one heal a little bit now and move on to another benjamina. So this is gonna go back to its place in the plant room, laundry room, whatever you want to call it. And hopefully you guys can hear me too. We'll work on this one right here, which just happens to be the right size. So let's see what my framing looks like. Oh yeah, you can see this thing's huge. All right, well, little wiggle here as we creep up. So a little farther up, sorry. So you can see pretty much the top of it. I'm touching the top of it there. You see these yellow leaves in here, hopefully. Those yellow leaves are not a great sign. However, I was looking over here, and the yellow leaves I've got are actually coming off where there's new leaves. So I've got new growth there. It's not dying. It is having an issue. I'm not sure what that issue is. I figure I'll pull out all these leaves and go from there. So I'm actually going to sit on the floor for this one. Be real close. You guys would be seeing a lot of my face. This is also very dense right now. I need to address that. It may have been that this thing got a little too cold. I've heard they're very fidgety when it comes to getting cold. I'm just not sure. But as it is, I'm going to try to take out all these yellow leaves. I noticed that they're highly variegated, so it's possible that these are from one specific tree that's more sensitive than the rest. But I really can't tell. These are so intertwined, and I need to work on that as well. So again, I don't think I've got a loss of a tree in here. Yellow leaves aren't a great sign, but of course something we have to pay attention to. And it may mean that I'll have a little bit of dieback in the planting. You know, I didn't really plan it. I just took it straight from the store and tucked it into this pot, really. I'll get all these out of here if I can reach them. Some of them just fall right off. For the most part, I have to find them and pull them out. Here, these come out. I think that's all the yellow ones up in the canopy. It mostly is. All right, might as well put these down here. So these aren't really pruned off. They're old leaves that were coming off, and I'd rather take them off. Ooh, I'm gonna take this guy out. Need to be there. Just a little orphan leaf, I hope. It's attached to something. Well, not anymore it ain't. I don't know what the story there is, but I do not want that there. So it's coming out. All right. Now this one, Lowe's purchase, saw it, couldn't live without it. It just, spoke to me. I do have another variegated Ficus benjamina. It's a different type. It's not quite as green-yellow as this. It's more like green-white. And it has been a slow grower for me, despite, I think, Bald Yeti had a really fast-growing one. Very impressive. More so, I would think that's his care and his attention to detail. I might have pests again with this one. I'm just really not sure. Some old dead leaves in here too. Pull these out for a little better visibility. And of course, I repotted it before time. So I've got two things going on here I want to address. One, they're all crisscrossing. It's hard to address without repotting. I don't plan on repotting. I just want to make sure I retain this big one so that anything that does happen, I've got some hope. But I've also got like branches like this one that's going off in no man's land. I want to bring it back. So of course, no man's land, since it's crossing everything else, I cut that off. I'm not going to try to do any cuttings from this because I don't think I'll have any success. In that same vein, I've got this coming out here. It's not quite what I want. I'd rather have things going a little more up. So I'm going to cut it off to right here and hope that it helps me bring it in some. On that same trunk, I've got this coming off to this side. I'm going to trim that back. It's already got some branches started. I'm going to go with the one that is going towards me. It's coming this way. On that, I think this is an old leaf, so I'm going to take it off. There's a much smaller branch coming off of that. I don't think I need it, but it's going in a good direction. I'm just going to take off the bit that's headed in because that's not going to work out well for me. I think the top of this is dead. Here it is. I'm going to take this out. It's just a dead bit and another little dead bit right here. Let's see if I can get that out. Yeah. I've got, on this side, it's really hard to see. So this right here is coming out from the base. I don't want it at all, but I will cut it to an upward facing bud and see if maybe I get another vertical trunk out of that. Another one here that's crossing everything. So I'll take that off so I can turn it towards me in order to see that better. It's got a little dead end to it. Ooh. And it's also growing in a funny direction. So, all right. A lot of this trees are very funny. It's kind of a clump style. I haven't rearranged them yet. I would like to try to keep them in a similar position when I do rearrange them. Again, when I see congestion, I see it all on this area here. So my next step will be to address this branch. It is coming in a pretty good direction. I've got branches already started in many directions. So I'm going to take it back to a couple branches, see what happens there. The one right above it isn't looking great, but I'm just going to take the end off it and see if this resonating for me. It is the same trunk, I believe. A lot of these are coming off that same trunk. Then this one is in our way. Probably best viewed from here. It's coming across. It's the actual leader of that. So what I'm going to do, let me see if I can just tuck it through without destroying anything and put it more vertical. I know this is kind of akin to wiring, which is, perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There. So maybe not better, but different certainly. I'm not sure this one's doing good for me, but I'm going to cut it back to one that's a little more vertical and see what happens. So it just gives me a little more, brings things in a little bit more. Now, when I look at congestion now, it's still kind of in this area. That's good. This branch is growing across from here. I'm going to take it off. And the old leaf that was there with it. Oof. You know what, this little one here doesn't need to be there either. I take off a lot of these lower ones. I changed my mind. They just don't make nearly enough sense to keep. I'm not growing branches at that level really. This one may end up being a new trunk. I will leave it. This one, no. Let's get that a little more cleaned up. I should kind of strap these all together if I want them to fuse. I don't really mind if they don't fuse. Just trying to, very sticky fingers. Just trying to keep this thing growing to the point where it starts to become something significant. This one jumps out at me, and this one jumps out at me. This long, straight one here. Don't love, and it's got the branch coming off this way too. I don't love most of it, but I think I can choose a new leader in here. Take off this old leaf, you can see better, I hope. Oof. So as it comes up, I've got branch, 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 and then this is quite vertical. So I think I'm going to make that my new leader and take off a whole bunch of this tree. Sorry, tree. That'd make a really good cutting if I could root it. Maybe I'll, of course I dripped this into the carpet. Not the best idea there. All right. I think I should try to root this just in itself, Might make it more complicated than it's got to be. Just see if it'll root in itself. Take off a bunch of these leaves to give it a little more forgiveness as far as moisture. We'll see what happens there, It's not a sure thing anyways, but certainly would like to have more trees in this planting. Especially considering it is a sort of clump style. Have another one growing in here probably would be good. All right. That's probably the right number of leaves anyhow. Maybe I could take one more off. No, I'll leave it like this. All right. I'm just going to poke this right into here. We will see if it decides to grow. Now on that, we'll just trim up that trunk real nicely. Take this off because it's now growing out this way, and it actually has a branch started there, so I'll take off this leaf below it, even if it'll slow down that growth. And over here, that leaf down below, and I've got a good branch coming out in two directions, so I'll let them both go. That vertical leader I want to grow, so I'll leave that. And this stem is pretty much good to go. I'm not going to worry with that big one yet because that's a really tough one. This one's as good as it's going to get, It needs to be adjusted, but that I'll do the next time I replant. All right, now, the only other one I really got to mess with, I thought I had a lot more stems, is this one here. And this is not the leaning one, but it's still leaning. My first branch is headed in and up, which I don't mind. However, don't want it headed in right now because it's just going to interfere with its own growth. Then this is my first branch on that, I believe. Yeah. It's growing good. It's not a bad direction per se. I think it has already started to branch out, so I'm going to take advantage of that and set it out this way. I don't know if you can see, but this little branch already started. Then the next branch on that is right here, which would make a really good leader. So I'm going to take advantage of that. Ooh, but first, glad I took a second to look. Take off some of these bigger leaves. So, although it may seem bizarre, well, not bizarre, that's not the right word, but so it's actually got really good bifurcation here. So it splits, comes up here, that'd be the leader, and then it splits and it splits again. Take the tip off of these because it's growing, you know, a million leaves in one bit. But I'm going to try to keep those and see if I can't make this sort of the height that tree ever becomes. I think that's going to be the way to go for me. The rest of this is either pretty new or, you know, still developing. Got some other branching in there, so I'll just leave it as is. And now I've got a pretty skinny planting. This big tree in the middle here is really cool. I love the way it's doing. I've got like this coming off here. I'm not sure if that is a branch, but it's just at the wrong angle, so I'm gonna take that off. And you can see it's got this one coming back across in the wrong direction. I don't know a way to fix that, so I'm going to have to take it out. That's a lot of the tree, so there it goes. Again, that'll make a quite nice planting, so I will give it a little snip snip. And some of these leaves. I don't have good luck with cuttings per se. Not bad. As one person asked, my fiddle figs I've had 0 issues with. They grow really nicely. But they're probably the only one I've had very good luck with. I'm going to tuck this in right here. And again, we'll just see what happens. Either it roots or it doesn't. I would love it if it would root in there. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. I can just pull it back out. Now, this one's kind of looped around that in a funny way. Let's see if I can untwist it. Yeah. And then on that, so now I've got this one coming out the front there. I've already pruned that back. I've kind of got a twin trunk here. So this one comes up and it's really long and straight. I take it back here. Another good cutting. And see how it grows. I'm hoping that I can, forget me, I'm going to stop talking for a moment to concentrate on cutting these. I'm going to see if when these all, you know, continue to grow, if they kind of grow apart the way I'd like them to, or if I'm going to have to keep worrying about which direction they're going. To me, I love twisty trees. The twistier, the better. You give me like this, they're all twisted up, not in a, you know, braid or a spiral. I'm excited about it. I love it. I think it's great. Got this one here coming out the front. Oh, front is relative. I haven't chosen a front, so there's no way to say that that's what it is. All right, so that takes a lot off of this. It's not a very good twin trunk. This is kind of long and straight, so I'm going to take off that first branch, just the tip off it, see if I can get something coming up. You can barely see in here. It might shoot up, because either that or I cut it back real hard, and that wouldn't be good either. I'll take this one off to give another encouragement to send some budding back. Now, when that splits, it splits rather low down right here. And this is the branch that comes off. I like it. I'm going to take it back. It's got one that's coming back in that I'm going to take off. Ooh. But it's got this one that's coming out. So we'll just let that grow. The old leaf under there is kind of gnarly looking, so I'm going to take that off. Got another old leaf in here that I can take off. And an old leaf right here I can take off. All right. Another old leaf right here. Let's just take them all off, right? Don't need them, don't keep them. All right, now I've got some pause here with my next steps. So I've got a little branch right here. Now I'm not sure I need, but I like it. And then I've got the rest of it that comes up like this. If I was to take it off to here, I have another good cutting and it wouldn't be too tall. I think that's probably about the height I want it to be at. I'm not sure how I like the way that tree just, you know, it may be following rules, it may be, you know, just fine. I just don't think I like the way it looks. It looks kind of funny. When it comes down to it, anyone who knows me knows I prefer much, much smaller trees too. So, well, I like twisty trees. I like small twisty trees. I like gnarled bushes, basically. Not even trees, just stumps of trees or bushes. I think they're the coolest thing. Tuck this in just as it is. See what happens there. We'll fill in right there. All right. So I almost want to come back even harder on that. Ooh. On the back here, I've got these little guys too, which I don't think I need. One of them's okay, the other one's not. So I didn't realize there was one coming off the back here too. Take it out. And then just above that, also kind of on the outside. It's kind of the same as that. It's kind of little. Take this part off. I don't think it's alive at all anyways, but if it was, it wouldn't matter. It's not in a good spot. So it's still really congested right here. And I don't foresee that being resolved. Ooh, a little bit going up the center here as well. Just a little, you know, one of these. I think this might have been an aerial root that dried up, but we'll take it off. I think I can get away with leaving it. But on this one here, now it's making me thinking that maybe it's too tall. I like all that bifurcation, it's just too tall. So I'm going to take this off relatively low. So I've still got 2 branches already started there, maybe 3. That's an old one. But it brings it down a little bit more for me. And I don't want that to be taller than the leader. And this one, it's one of those new branches that got fat fast. I'm going to take it back way harder than I should because I don't want it overpowering its actual leader here. And this little branch here, I don't probably need it, but I'm going to take it off to downward facing bud. Just below that, there's a downward facing bud here. Hopefully it activates and grows from that and I don't lose the tree altogether. Cut these cuttings back a little bit so they're not hanging out quite so far. And oof, we're getting there. So I'll get a lot more light into this. As you can tell, it's a very one-sided planting. This side's quite weak. It's mostly cuttings now, and this side's quite strong. It's probably my fault for planting it this way. I didn't do a very good job of centering it or making it, you know, this way or that. It was quite rushed planting. And I'm seeing in here, I don't know if you guys can see. Hope you guys can see right there. Probably not. But there's a kind of fat root. There's a little root on top here that looks like it's dead. Let's slightly rid of this fabric here. I think I need to address it now, if I haven't already. Oh, you know what? Good news, I've already cut that one off, so it's already starting to split and do better stuff. Good boy, Uzi. I don't know if you guys saw Uzi in the background there, my little dog. He is awesome. All right, I'm not sure what this is. What are this? The little green bands. Pull those out. But I think that might be it. I think that's all I can get away with on this one. I've gotten a pretty big pot. I would like to grow it quite a bit and have a nice little clump style there, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, just repotted this one recently too, so I'm not going to repot it yet, but it will be repotted probably in a couple months here, and we'll see how she does. So, thank you all for joining me. I will actually zoom out to, let's see if it'll let me. Oh, doesn't want to let me. That's okay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate your patience. Sorry again about cutting short last time, but this time we got all the way through it. We were able to record, and I will have this up tonight. We're almost at the end of the year here, so I'm excited to see what this next year brings for me and what it brings for these trees. I will continue to try to get a video up every day. Tomorrow, I probably will not. Tuesdays are a busy day for me, but in the case that I can, I will. Thank you all for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, ask questions. I learn from your questions as much as I try to teach whatever I do know on the subject. If you ask me questions, I don't know quite a bit. I know quite little. Pretty soon I'll have to do a video on checking out my coffee trees, seeing what's up with those, and seeing if I can get them to survive. And then I've got another ficus that I probably could prune back. I'm trying to grow it real big. But it's getting too big for the inside space now. And I'll, of course, show the inside space pretty soon. So thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves. Cheers.